Let's look at how cybercrime and the cyber world and the physical world is now starting to get interlaced. This is something that we have seen in the previous years, and this is something that we have observed in 2021, wherein we have reasons to believe that in 2022, cybercriminals will embark on kinetic cyber attacks. Now, we all understand that in the cyber world, there is a cyber criminal out there is a cyber criminal group out there, or there is a state-sponsored entity or state-driven entity for their geopolitical agenda out there, which is willing to attack, launch a cyber attack, or willing to compromise the credibility of a nation, credibility of an institution, brand value of an organization. But imagine if these attacks start hitting the actual way of life of how the human race is set up, which means having an actual impact to residents or citizens of a country, to employees of an organization or an entity, or to basically having an impact at a large scale, starting from a small scale, right? And what could potentially be the reasons? Well, it's a very simple two-pronged reason that we see, right? One is forcing the victims to be more open to negotiation. Because if you're going to put a human life or a cost of human life as an opportunity to be saved, and what can save that human life is probably paying some kind of a ransom, obviously, it's a foregone conclusion that entities and countries and organizations will most likely take that option. And the other is really enhancing the credibility, because that's how the cyber criminals and the cybercrime world works, wherein you say, hey, I am the entity and I was able to get A, B, and C country or A, B, and C organization or institution really pay the ransom. I was able to create a very clear transcending impact between the cyber world and the real world. So what we envisage as CYFIRMA is that geopolitical tensions, commercial competition, and socioeconomic differences will trigger kinetic cyber attacks, resulting in actual physical damage and loss of lives. Something that we have seen in bits and pieces in earlier years with the possible impact to a hospital in Italy, as an example, possible impact to a water treatment plant in Florida, which was thwarted. But our stark prediction for 2022 is this will now start becoming, showing up in your normal day-to-day news feed, which is which is really sad. At the same time, this could become one of the risks that all of us will need to start to deal with. Over to Thomas to add more details on this.
Thank you, Saurabh. So this is the one we touched upon in the first prediction, the rise of IoT and OT and IT convergence opens up the whole new set of opportunities and scope of the damage, as Saurabh described, to cyber attackers. And pretty much ever since the infamous Stuxnet worm that took out Iranian uranium enriching centrifuges, we have seen a gradual buildup of these cyberkinetic capabilities by all nation states. And if we go for specific examples and like how it looks like in real life, Russia is conducting their annual winter holidays exercise against Ukraine's infrastructure. They are taking out their electric grid or ATMs every year since the conflict in the East Ukraine started. Similar situation is now playing out on Taiwan where the Chinese threat actors are using the Taiwanese infrastructure as their cyber range. So as these geopolitical tensions keep escalating, they fuel proliferation of these cyber weapons, and they are designed to completely cripple energy, communication, logistics, and defense capabilities of entire countries all at once. And with that in mind, luckily so far, we haven't seen many of the ransomware attacks or cyber attacks on OT just yet. Even the Colonial Pipeline attack did not cripple the pipeline itself. It just affected the computers with accounting and client fees charging software, which forced the pipeline operators to close it to avoid unaccounted distributions. But with all that said, the cybersecurity community as a whole is seeing a growing interest in OT and industrial systems. And we believe it's only a matter of time, likely during 2022, as Saurabh said, before the kinetic attacks trickle down from nation states to cybercriminals, and they'll start holding hostage machineries, assembly lines, or maybe even whole model lines of electric or smart cars. We already seen proof of concept how to hold engines or disable brakes in a smart car. So yeah, back to you, Saurabh.
Thank you, Thomas. Those were really insightful insights.